Have you been waking up feeling less like yourself lately? Not just tired, but disconnected? Like your body is still here, but the spark, the warmth, the intimacy, it's slipping away. You might think it's just part of getting older, but what if I told you that what's really stealing your vitality isn't age, but something far more dangerous? Tiny blood vessels in your pelvis, the ones responsible for arousal, sensation, and connection, begin silently closing off after 60. No warnings, no pain, just a slow fading. And most men never notice until it's almost gone. Here's the shocker. This isn't something a pill can fix. Because the problem isn't in your desire or your hormones, it's in your circulation. But there's good news. Nature has given us 4 time-tested herbs, forgotten by most, but quietly transforming the lives of men in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s. Today, I'll show you exactly what these herbs are, how they work, and why men across the world are calling them the silent switch that turned their life and their love back on. I'm Dr. James. For over 30 years, I've helped men rediscover what most thought was lost forever. And if you stay with me, you'll not only get the facts, you'll remember a version of yourself that's still alive, just waiting for the blood to reach him again. You've probably heard it your whole life. That's just what happens when you get older. Less energy, less drive, less interest, less sensation. It's easy to believe it's all part of the aging process. But here's the thing, it's not the full truth. What if your body wasn't failing you, but simply starving for something it's quietly been missing for years? Most men think that sexual decline starts with testosterone or desire. They believe if their body isn't responding, it must be hormonal. So they chase pills, they blame stress, they even blame their partners. But in truth, the most overlooked cause of intimacy loss after 60 isn't desire or testosterone or even emotions. It's blood, or more accurately, the slow, invisible decline in blood flow where it matters most. You see, arousal is not just about the mind. It's not just about love or attraction. It's about delivery of oxygen, of sensation, of presence. And that delivery depends on the health of your smallest blood vessels, called microvessels, especially those in the pelvic region. Now here's the part no one talks about. After the age of 55, these tiny vessels begin to narrow, stiffen, and clog, much like old pipes in a house. It happens quietly, without symptoms, without warning. They lose elasticity. The walls thicken, and blood, which once flowed freely into the tissues that bring sensation and connection, starts to slow, then fade, then stop. And when that happens, you don't just lose function, you lose feeling. You lose the sense of being there fully, intimately alive. But because this decline is slow and silent, most men don't realize it's happening. They tell themselves, maybe I'm just too tired. Maybe my relationship has changed. Maybe I just don't care as much anymore. But deep down, they do care. They just don't know what's really happening inside their own body. And that's where the cycle begins. The one that quietly robs men of confidence, of connection, of joy. Here's another uncomfortable truth. Even testosterone therapy, the so-called solution for older men, doesn't work if the blood can't get where it needs to go. What good is higher testosterone if the delivery system is blocked? It's like having a full water tank, but the pipes are rusted shut. And this is where most modern approaches fail. Pills try to override this system. They force blood into areas that aren't ready. They pressure your heart, strain your vessels, cause headaches, flushing, or worse. And even when they work, the effect is artificial, fleeting. The connection feels forced, mechanical, empty. You may perform, but you don't feel like you. That's because the real fix doesn't come from pressure. It comes from restoration, from reopening what's been silently closing, from nourishing the system that once flowed effortlessly, from helping your body remember what it already knows, how to feel, how to connect, how to come alive again. And here's the beautiful part. Your body still remembers. It hasn't forgotten. It just needs the right support to find its rhythm again. That's why today's video isn't about quick tricks or performance hacks. It's about understanding the truth, the biology, the real reason why things have gone quiet, and what you can do to awaken them again. Because circulation is everything. It powers your brain, it fuels your heart, and yes, it breathes life back into your most intimate places. Once you understand this, once you stop blaming age or willpower or emotion, you finally have a chance to take back what's quietly been taken from you. So now the question becomes, can blood still flow there? The answer is yes, if you know what to give your body, and you give it the time to open again. Coming up next, I'll share with you the stories of three men, Richard, Glenn, and Walter, who once thought they were finished. What they discovered not only changed their relationships, it changed their understanding of who they still were. And we'll introduce the natural, science-backed tools that help them get there. One day, one drop of blood, one quiet awakening at a time. Richard was 74 when he first walked into my office. Quiet man, kind eyes. He wore a tan jacket, hands folded as if bracing himself. He'd recently started seeing someone, Miriam, a widow he'd met at a community book club. They'd been sharing coffee, laughter, slow walks. It felt warm, familiar, exciting even, but also terrifying. Because after 8 years alone, Richard had a fear he hadn't voiced to anyone. He leaned in, lowered his voice, and said, "Doc, what if I just can't do it anymore? What if it's too late?" He wasn't talking about performance. He was talking about presence, about feeling, about the fear of letting someone down, and the fear of discovering that part of himself might be gone for good. I've heard that fear more times than I can count. Glenn, 72, a retired contractor, once told me, "It's not about proving anything. It's not even about sex. It's about reaching for my wife at night and not feeling like I'm faking it." He missed the way his body used to respond naturally. He missed the warmth in his chest when she touched him. He missed the quiet confidence of knowing he was still connected to her, to himself, to the life they'd built. Walter, 68, shared something similar. He'd been married over 40 years. One morning, sitting across from me, he said, "I lie next to her every night and I love her just as much as I ever did. But it's like I'm only half there. I'm still here, but something inside me isn't." These men aren't rare. They're not broken. They're not exceptions. They're reflections of something millions of older men are carrying quietly. A sense that part of their identity, their connection, their manhood is fading without a name. And the hardest part? Most never talk about it. They carry it in silence. They blame themselves. Or worse, they accept it as fate. Maybe you've felt it too. The moments when you reach for closeness and your body doesn't follow. When you still love deeply, but the physical connection feels distant. When you try to explain it and even you don't have the words. That's why this conversation matters. Not because it's easy, but because it's honest. Because somewhere along the way, we stopped talking to men about this part of life. We stopped telling the truth. That you can still feel. That you can still change. That your story isn't over just because your body has gone quiet for a while. What I've seen, again and again, is that once men understand what's really happening and that they're not alone, something begins to shift. Not instantly, not dramatically, but deeply. It's the moment a man looks in the mirror and thinks, maybe I'm not done after all. Maybe I just need to find the right way back. And that's what today's about. Not shame, not performance, not pretending to be 25 again, but returning slowly, steadily to the part of you that still wants to live fully, feel deeply, and connect honestly. Richard's story didn't end in fear. Neither did Glenn's, neither did Walter's. And if any part of you sees yourself in them, then maybe this story is yours too. When Richard began his journey back, we didn't start with prescriptions. We didn't talk about performance. We talked about blood, specifically how to help it flow again, not just to his heart, but to his most intimate center. That's where these 4 natural allies come in, not as magic pills, not as instant fixes, but as quiet restorers, each working gently, steadily, in harmony with the body you have today. These herbs don't force anything, they remind your body what it still knows how to do. And when used consistently, they can open the pathways that time has narrowed and reconnect you to the sensations you thought were lost. Let's explore how. Ginseng, the ignition key. Think of ginseng like the spark that reignites the engine. Not just energy, but circulation, desire, and clarity. It's been called the man root in Eastern medicine for centuries, and for good reason. At the heart of its power are compounds called ginsenosides. These help increase nitric oxide, a molecule that relaxes blood vessels, especially in the pelvic area, allowing blood to flow more freely and sensations to return more fully. But this isn't just theory. A 2013 study in the International Journal of Impotence Research found that men who took red ginseng saw significant improvement in erectile function compared to placebo, with no major side effects. When Walter started using a high-quality Korean red ginseng extract, 600 milligrams each morning, he wasn't expecting much. 3 weeks later, his words were simple. I feel lighter in my body, in my marriage, like I'm here again. That's the power of blood flow. Not just harder erections, but softer reconnections. The kind that make you reach for your partner again, not because you're chasing performance, but because you feel present in your skin. Important tip, not all ginseng is equal. Skip the gas station blends. Look for Korean red Panax ginseng, standardized to at least 5% ginsenosides. And give it time. This isn't fireworks, it's a sunrise. Horny goat weed, the heat restorer. Yes, the name sounds like a joke, but for many men, this herb has quietly become one of the most effective tools for bringing warmth and sensitivity back. Its real name is epimedium, and it works through a compound called icerian, a gentle PDE5 inhibitor, meaning it relaxes blood vessels similarly to drugs like Viagra, but without the artificial push. Instead of crashing the system, horny goat weed cooperates with your body. It encourages blood flow naturally, softens resistance, and over time, awakens parts of you that have grown distant. But the magic doesn't stop with blood flow. Horny goat weed also helps balance hormones. It gently boosts testosterone and lowers cortisol, the stress hormone that quietly strangles desire. That's what made the difference for Glenn. At 72, he wasn't looking to perform. He was looking to feel. When we started him on a 500 mg standardized extract with 10% Icarian, I told him, don't expect a light switch, expect something slower, but steadier. A month later, he came in with a smile. It's not dramatic, he said, but I'm waking up with something again, physically, emotionally, like the lights came back on. That's the feeling we're after. Not pressure, not perfection, but presence. If you're considering this herb, consistency is key. Take 250, 500 milligrams daily. Look for at least 10% Icarian, and don't rush the result. Nature doesn't rush, and neither should you. Ginkgo biloba, the forgotten flow booster. Most people hear ginkgo and think of memory, but what they don't realize is that its most profound effect is on blood vessels, especially the smallest, most delicate ones in the body. That includes those deep within the pelvis, the ones responsible for arousal, sensitivity, and connection. These vessels are the first to suffer with age, and they're also the ones most responsive to ginkgo's magic. This herb works by improving microcirculation, the ability of blood to reach the tiniest, most hidden capillaries. When these are blocked, it doesn't matter how much desire you have, your body can't respond. One of my patients, 70 years old, in good shape, told me, I feel numb, doc, like my body stopped talking to me. He added ginkgo, 120 milligrams twice a day. By week 4, he was more energized. By week 6, he said something I'll never forget. It's like I can feel again, not just down there, but everywhere. Ginkgo also reduces inflammation in aging blood vessels and supports oxygen delivery, both essential for restoring responsiveness. If you're thinking of trying it, be patient. Ginkgo doesn't create fireworks, it opens roads that have long been closed. And sometimes the road back to sensation is the most meaningful journey of all. Tribulus terrestris, the signal reawakener. There's something deeply personal about a man's relationship to testosterone, not just because it supports libido, energy, and performance, but because it connects him to identity. And when that connection fades, something inside quietly dims. Tribulus doesn't flood your body with synthetic hormones. Instead, it signals your pituitary gland to increase luteinizing hormone, which in turn nudges your body to produce more of its own natural testosterone. That one signal, subtle as it is, can change everything. Because when testosterone rises naturally, circulation improves, mood lifts, stamina increases, and a quiet, grounded confidence returns. For Richard, it was the final piece. After starting ginseng, then adding ginkgo, he still felt something was missing. We added tribulus, 500 mils per day, standardized to 45% saponins. 6 weeks later, he walked into my office with different eyes. It's not that I feel younger, he said. I just feel like I'm back. Tribulus also supports vascular tone, the strength and flexibility of blood vessels, which means better blood flow to the regions that need it most. If you're feeling dull, low energy, or emotionally disconnected, this may be the herb your body has been quietly craving. Just remember, start low, Go slow. Stay consistent. Your body isn't a machine to fix. As a rhythm to rejoin, each of these herbs plays a different role. Ginseng opens, horny goat rekindles, ginkgo clears, troubalis reminds, and when used together, not all at once, but gradually, in balance, they can do something no pill ever will. They can help you return, not just to your partner, not just to pleasure, but to yourself. You haven't lost what made you a man. You've just stopped feeding it. And now you know how to begin again. Let me ask you something. Not as a doctor, not as an expert, as one man to another. When was the last time you felt fully, unmistakably like a man? Not because you could perform, not because you checked some box, but because you felt present in your body. Because you reached for someone and your body said, "Yes, I'm here too." Because your skin responded, your chest warmed, your breath deepened, and for a moment, you weren't thinking, you were living. Maybe it's been a while, maybe too long. Maybe you've quietly told yourself that part of life is over. I've heard men say that more than any other sentence. But every time I hear it, I hear the same pain beneath it. They don't say it with peace. They say it with a sigh, a sadness, a kind of silent grief that they think they're not allowed to talk about. But here's the truth. That part of you didn't die. It just stopped getting what it needs. It's like a flame that was covered, not extinguished, just waiting for the air to return. And now that you've learned how blood flow works, how hormones speak, how herbs can gently reopen doors that once closed, maybe the real question isn't, will this work? Maybe the question is, do you still want it to? Do you still want to feel your body respond to touch, not with urgency, but with ease? Do you still want to wake up in the morning and feel alive, not just awake? Do you still want to look into your partner's eyes or your own in the mirror and know there's more left in you than the world ever gave you credit for? If so, then you have a choice to make. A quiet one, not flashy, not dramatic, but honest. You can decide right now that this chapter of your life is still unfolding. That intimacy didn't end with age. That connection didn't retire when you did. That your masculinity isn't behind you, it's inside you, waiting for you to call it forward. So here's what I want you to do. Not for me, not even for your partner, for you. Take one moment, just one, and ask yourself, am I ready to come back to life? If your answer is yes, or even maybe, then I invite you to take one small action, just one. Try one herb for 7 days. Try breathing slower. Try touching your own skin without judgment. Try believing, even just a little, that you're still worth the effort. And if you do, if you're willing to meet your body halfway, then type the word restart in the comments below. Not because you have to, but because your story, the part you haven't told anyone yet, is still being written. And today might just be the day you pick the pen back up. Now that you understand the truth, now that you've met the herbs, the science, and the stories, the next question is simple. What do I do now? Here's the good news. You don't need to do everything at once. You don't need to overhaul your life, take 10 pills a day, or become someone you're not. You just need to begin. And the best beginnings are small, honest, and sustainable. Let's break it down. If you're feeling drawn to try something, even just one thing, I recommend starting with a single herb. Not a mix, not a combo pack, not a miracle powder from the internet. Just one. Let your body get used to it. Let it whisper back to you gently. The goal is not performance. The goal is presence. So here's what that might look like depending on what you're seeking most right now. If you feel flat, dull, or disconnected, where desire used to live, start with Korean red ginseng. Take 600 milligrams in the morning after breakfast. Look for one that's standardized to at least 5% ginsenoside. You may notice more energy, clearer thinking, and warmth where you thought there was none. If you feel tension, stress, or a lack of responsiveness, especially in the evenings, try horny goat weed. Begin with 250 milligrams, working up to 500 milligrams if it feels right. Choose a product that contains at least 10% icarian. This herb works best taken with food and pairs beautifully with a short evening walk. If you feel numb, like sensation is gone, or your skin just isn't speaking back, go with ginkgo biloba. Take 120 milligrams twice daily, once in the morning, once in the afternoon. Consistency is key. This one needs 4 to 6 weeks to truly open the microvessels. But when it does, you'll know. And if your struggle is with energy, motivation, or you feel like your manhood has simply gone quiet, start with Tribulus terrestris. Take 500 ml in the morning, ideally one that's standardized to 45% saponins. This is not a fake testosterone booster. It reminds your body what it knew how to make. But let's be honest, pills or herbs alone are not enough. You are not just chemistry. You are rhythm. So if you really want this to work, you have to meet your body halfway. That means giving it a little help through breath, movement, and touch. Start your morning with 3 deep breaths. In through the nose for 4 seconds, hold for 2, out through the mouth for 6. This alone helps your nervous system shift into a calmer, more responsive state. Then walk. Even 10 minutes around the block in the morning sun can help activate blood flow, lower cortisol, and support your supplements. And if you feel brave enough, try touch. Not with pressure, not with a goal, just with kindness. Touch your own arms, your chest, your belly, not to arouse, but to remind your body that it's safe, that it's loved, that it's yours. Some men find it helpful to write down what they notice each week, not just changes in function, but in feeling. One man I worked with kept a tiny notebook. He called it his return log. Week 1, slept better, woke up lighter. Week 2, noticed her touch again, felt. Week 3, walked past the mirror, smiled. That's what this is about. Not returning to your 20s. Returning to your body, your breath, your sense of self. And if you'd like to make it a little more fun, here's a gentle recipe that many of my patients enjoy. The Morning Spark Smoothie. In a blender, combine 1 cup of pomegranate juice, half a banana, a handful of frozen berries, blueberries and strawberries, 1 scoop of plain Greek yogurt, a dash of cinnamon, a pinch of powdered Korean red ginseng, or open a capsule. Blend it all, sip it slowly. Feel it nourish you, and then take a short walk. Breathe. Let your body carry you gently into the day. You don't need to chase anything. You don't need to fix what isn't broken. You just need to return and trust that your body is still listening. Start with one thing, 1 herb, 1 practice, 1 breath, and let the momentum find you, because it will. Let's come back to the beginning, to that quiet moment when you wondered, is this just what happens to men like me? Is this the end of that part of life? After everything you've heard today, I hope you now see the answer. Now, it's not the end. It's the signal, the loss of desire, the fading of sensation, the growing emotional distance. They're not punishments. They're not signs of failure. They're messages. Your body has been whispering for years, trying to get your attention, not to shame you, not to scare you, but to tell you something essential. That blood isn't flowing the way it used to, that certain signals aren't reaching where they used to go, that parts of you have grown quiet, not because you stopped caring, but because they stopped being nourished. And now you know what to do. You know about the 4 herbs, not just their names, but how they work, what they restore, and what they awaken. You've heard from real men in real relationships, facing real fears just like yours. You've learned that you don't need a miracle. You need rhythm. You need patience. Deal? You need truth. But more than anything, you need permission. Permission to believe that you're still in there, that the man who once felt warmth, pride, presence, and connection hasn't gone anywhere. He's just been waiting for the right kind of invitation. Maybe that invitation is this moment, this message, this breath you're taking right now. So let me offer you a truth I've seen over and over again. Men don't lose their masculinity with age. They lose it when they stop feeling seen, when they start hiding, when they let silence replace hope. But it's never too late to come back. You don't need to impress anyone. You don't need to prove anything. You only need to choose presence again and again. Start with one breath, one herb, one walk, one moment of honesty. Let it build. Let it open you slowly. Because once the blood starts to flow again, once sensation begins to return, once connection is felt not as duty but as desire, something extraordinary happens. You stop surviving and you start living again. So if this message stirred something in you, if it cracked open a door you thought was locked, I want to invite you to speak up. Not for me, for the man beside you, the man watching silently, the man inside you. In the comments below, type, "I'm not done." Let it be your quiet declaration, your return, your proof that healing is possible even now, especially now. Because you're not broken, you're simply being called back. Back to your body, back to your breath, back to the truth of who you are and who you've always been. If you're ready to remember that, then the next chapter of your life starts today.